Thank you so much. What kind words? Well, hi everyone. My name is Noah, and I was asked to guide a short grounding practice to launch us off. So I think I'll maybe guide us in a little moment of settling, and then I'll share more about who I am after that. So without saying much more, you can just find a comfortable position wherever you are. If you're driving, please keep your eyes open, of course. But if you're not driving, you can definitely close your eyes. You can turn your camera off if that makes you more comfortable. I'll leave mine on. And there's no right or wrong posture for you to assume, but just get comfortable. And as you find a comfortable posture, we can all collectively receive a deep breath in, allow a deep breath out. Maybe once more, another deep breath in, and allow a deep breath out. And see if you can bring all of your attention, all of your awareness to wherever your body is touching something else. Maybe it's a chair, or the floor, or a couch, or car seat. But see if you can feel your body being held and supported. And from those areas of support, can you allow your awareness to fill your entire body, much like a fragrance might fill a room, but have all of the areas of your body be noticed? And see if you can be curious for any areas that feel tight or tense. And if you find any tension, if you find any tightness, every time you breathe out, relax and release. You can relax around your shoulders. You can relax around your jaw, the muscles around your eyes and your eyebrows. But let your whole body come to rest. And just as we relax our bodies, I'll also invite you to relax your mind. That even though our mind isn't made up of bone or tissue, muscle, we can still relax around our thoughts. If there are any thoughts, emotions, memories, or desires in your mind, allow them to come and go freely, even if it's just giving your mind permission to be spacious. And then find in your body the easiest place to notice your breath. You might notice it in your belly, or your chest, or around your nose or your mouth. But just see if you can notice the physical experience of breathing, your chest rising and falling, your stomach rising and falling, cool air in your nose, warm air going out. Just gently observe your body breathing, allowing your body to breathe. You could even see what it was like to receive a breath rather than to take a breath. And we take so much already. What could it be like to just receive? And as you breathe in and out, I'll invite you to just make a small note in your mind of the pause in between. That you breathe in, there's a pause. You breathe out, there's a pause. And you can even anchor your attention by noting that pause. Breathing in, pause. Breathing out, pause. And then in this state of a somewhat relaxed mind, a somewhat relaxed body, whatever it is enough, is to give yourself a moment to set an intention on how do you want to show up for the rest of your evening, your morning, wherever you're tuning in from. But how do you want to be? And so, with that intention, we can all receive one last deep breath in, filling your lungs. You can allow a deep breath out. And if your eyes have been closed, you can gently blink them open as we gently bring our short grounding practice to an end. Finding ourselves back in whatever space you're coming from and into our Zoom. Great. All right. Well, hopefully that was a pleasant experience at the least. Um, as a way to settle ourselves in. I find this, um, yeah, to be a really essential part of any of my creative practices is becoming a little bit more present and a little bit more intentional, as always. So, I'll introduce myself now. Now you're probably wondering, um, oh yeah, great, respond in the chat. Oh, fun. Love this. Nice. Well, I'll introduce myself a little bit because you're probably wondering who's this person that's just been talking at you for the past 5 minutes. So my name is Noah Koski, and I'm brand new to Undivided. This is my first experience here, which I'm very excited to have been invited tonight. I am a new New Yorker. I just moved to New York City about 3 weeks ago from Idaho. And I realize that that might be kind of surprising, so I'll share this very cliffhangery, very short reason on why I'm here and leave you all tantalized, which is a year ago, I got kicked off of an airplane because it was overbooked. I got flight credit. I used that flight credit to take a stranger on a 5 day long blind date to Belize to try to fall in love. And it didn't turn out to be a romantic connection, but a very dedicated wing lady. And she said, Noah, your only problem for finding love is that you live in Idaho. You should go to New York City and go on a bunch of dates with all of my best friends. So I came to New York City in December of last year. I went on 17 first dates. None of them came from apps, they all came in person. And it was like the brightest, fullest potential part of my life. Went back to Idaho, and then I just moved here 3 weeks ago indefinitely, just particularly and specifically to prioritize my heart and try to fall in love. So I'm in this very strange pause experience in my life in general. I had this really beautiful life that I curated in Idaho, and I threw a big wrench in on my quest for love. So, a little bit about where I'm coming from an artistic standpoint is I'm a storyteller. I write a lot of poetry. I do a lot of performance. I host a lot of open mic nights. I would say probably my favorite way to be creative is some kind of hosting, emceeing role. I love the improvisational moments of being able to interact with an audience and to yeah, be able to celebrate other people. I feel like that combination, I love a lot. I've done some documentary filmmaking and play a little music, but it feels like lots of parts of my life are very surrounded by some kind of artistic expression. But really, the main expression of my whole life, my whole adult life, has been teaching mindfulness and meditation K through 12 to students, and mostly working with high school students. So, seeing if we can begin with self awareness and continue out in community. And I think what I love about this evening's topic so much about this pause, this in between, this transitionary moment, especially when it comes to having some kind of creative expression, is I love that, at least in my own life, pausing has been such a skill and such a skill that's been trainable. I think the more that I've put effort into these transitionary phases, seasons, experiences of my life, it's helped a lot in um, still feeling grounded, feeling calm, feeling prepared, feeling motivated. And I think a little bit in the meditation that I just led us through, we have these wonderful opportunities every single moment of our lives of practicing a pause. We breathe in and pause and breathe out and pause, and it brings us all the way through our day. And the more that I'm able just to notice, like, oh, right now I'm just in a pause of my breath. I can extrapolate some of that out into my own life where I might be in between a moment where I might even just be feeling uncreative, feeling creative in my own life. I might be actively working on a project. I might not be. Um, and from those moments of pause, it, I think, can just kind of lead me in whatever direction it might be taking me. Some wisdom that I really love to share that I isn't my own, but it came from this man Boyd Vardy, who was training to be a lion tracker in South Africa, and his mentor um, had asked him. He said, "Renius, how do you know where the lion is?" And Renius said, "I don't know where I'm going, but I know exactly how to get there." And he was sharing that if he could just find one print and the next print and the next print and the next print, he didn't know where this lion was, but knew how to get to that place. And that's felt very appropriate in my own life of if I can just track myself where I might be going. But for me, I've noticed that the easiest moments in my life where I'm actually able to recognize where the next prince might be, whether it might be a creative thread that I'm excited to follow in some kind of creative pursuit, or a life decision like throwing a wrench in a perfect life in Idaho to move to New York and try and fall in love, has actually come from these moments of pause. The moments where I can be still enough, I can be quiet enough to pay attention and try to see where does it feel like these tracks might be leading me, and I might not know exactly where my destination may be, but it can be helpful to find my way there. So I found tremendous benefit in just becoming really comfortable with pauses and comfortable in the transitions, comfortable in these in between seasons, um, and actually really desire them and look forward to them as they can give a lot of hope, I think, for myself. And maybe the last thing I'll share about it is when we have a pause, whether it's between our breath, whether it's between a creative work and artistic work, is it's just full of potential. I mean, it's empty in a lot of its nature, but it's really full of a lot of potential. And so many things can come in that pause. Of course, when we're meditating, even our mind can wander very easily. We can get distracted and be pulled in a lot of different ways. Um, but if we can get really intentional about what we use our pauses for, I think it can be really beautiful. And in my own life, compassion is really probably the most guiding principle or value that's directed my life the most. Is finding a moment of compassion. I think art can be such a beautiful opportunity and such a beautiful vehicle, both to express a desire for compassion, share compassion very directly outward. Um, and a pause can be a moment also to share inner compassion, self-compassion for myself. That it might be a hard moment. I might be wanting to be on stage and in some kind of really celebrated creative potential. I might like to feel really proactive, but can I rest in some of the self-compassion of the pause? Hopefully to inspire some more compassion outside. So that's my little piece, I think, to share with you all is, um, yeah, a big plug for the beauty of the pause and, yeah, that you have no obligation to be the person that you were 15 minutes ago. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Noah. I really appreciate you bringing some of your practice to the space and who you are. I wrote down that I don't know where I'm going, but I know exactly how to get there. So just one step at a time. Thank you. Well, before we move on, I'm just going to do some quick community updates about the collective. Jasmine, if you want to pull up the slide about the Artist Collective, that would be awesome. Just we have a few things unfolding, and as we begin to imagine what the collective can be next year, we're envisioning residencies, commissions, deeper collaboration. So this evening, if you aren't already a part of the collective, is an invitation for you to join in that. As part of the collective, you help shape and contribute to this space. Our next circle will be this kind of meeting will be happening in January. The date is to be determined, but we will be polling people for what is kind of like a good day and time to meet. So stay tuned for that. I also invite you to follow us on Instagram, Artists Undivided. That is how you on the account, the people that the account is following, those are the people who are in the collective. So it's a good way to get connected to the people in the collective. And I've also trained the algorithm to feed me open calls, opportunities for grants. So I tend to share that in the stories, things that I think might be appealing to our community, and also just kind of things to inspire us along the way. So encourage you to join us there. And also the directory, if you feel like you're ready to join the collective, that form, that QR code is there for you for that. But if you just want to engage, explore what your place could be in the collective, my calendar is open for you to spend some time one-on-one with me, even if it's not about considering being in the collective. There's nothing that I love more than hanging out with artists. So if you want to bounce off ideas, just if you want me to read to you from artsy books, like, I'm happy to hop on a call and spend time with you, make connections to other artists in our collective, or maybe opportunities that could come your way. We also will be commissioning through the collective for more of our content pieces that we produce for the other areas of our work. So that will be coming in the year ahead. So you're more than welcome to invite other people to the next circle, but also please help us spread the word for people that you think might want to be part of this. All right, so that leads me to our next guest. Kaya is somebody who I see her as someone that stretches lines, and like the lines that are in between that sometimes show up in theology or geography or identities. She just embodies a kind and caring curiosity that stretches things that shouldn't be necessarily cemented. So I'm excited for you to hear from her and hear more about who she is and what she offers through her creative practice. Kaya, stage is yours.
Thank you. I'm just gonna give myself a little timer because I'm that person. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Natalie. And I would love you to read me some art books. That sounds fun to me. So I might sign up for your calendar. Man, okay. So I live in Mexico. I'm in Nayarit. That's one of the states in Mexico. If you're not familiar, I'm from Mesa County in Colorado. Um, Growing up, my house was bicultural and biracial. My mom's Mexican, my dad's of English descent. And that has been something that's been a source of, well, just a lot of my identity. And part of that is my mom's an artist. Her father was a sign painter, and an artist. He liked to paint cuadros, like acrylic paintings. And so I come from a family that kind of takes art as like almost like this, um, like something like daily bread, I would say. Um, it's something that's always been part of our lives, and we need it. I actually wrote a poem a few years ago, 2 years ago, about how art, as I reflect back on it, really probably saved my life when I was at a really low point in my teen years. I can share the link to that poem. I'm not going to read it here today. Um, but sorry, anyways, I'm gonna jump around a little bit. That's just kind of how I talk, like we go all over the place. Um, we moved to Mexico because, well, it's a story a little bit, not a little bit, it's centered around language and also just my comfort level with the environment around us. And a lot of the work I do is to do with just this idea of just what's sprinkled across the surface. There's a theologian, her name's Maria Isasi Diaz, and she talks about how Latinas kind of just tend to the everyday as it comes, like crumbs sprinkled across the surface of a table. Um, and I find myself doing art in a similar way. And if those crumbs are the in-between spaces, that's where I do my art from, is really the in-between. I have 3 kids. I'm married, and there's just, oh, I'm a grad school student. I'm taking online classes at the Seattle School of Theology and Psychology. So that's where theology comes in and informs my art. And it really is, I mean, I'm thinking about the last project I did has been around the Sacred Heart of Christ, because I remember this, I guess it was a painting. It's like one of those mass market, like religious images. And my grandparents always had it on the wall in their kitchen. And it just came to mind during a school project I was doing about different cultural Jesuses. And so we were asked to think of a cultural Jesus that resonates with us. And I thought of the Sacred Heart. Something about my grandparents is that their first language is Spanish, and they did not speak Spanish to their children. So my mom doesn't speak Spanish, but she understands Spanish because she had to figure out what was going on. She wanted to hear the gossip on the phone call, and they went to church in Spanish, and so it was very much a bilingual household, but only some people were allowed to speak it. So how that resonates with me in my life is, growing up, I really felt from a young age this urgency to stay with culture, because culture meant survival. And so learning Spanish became this, like, just like art, like it needed to be this like daily bread sort of learning that me and my siblings were doing. And so my mom would teach us how to roll our R's, even though she didn't know. It's interesting, she didn't articulate a lot of Spanish words, but she knew them. So maybe I absorbed some symbiotically, who knows? But now that I have my own family, I realized that cultural survival is a really important and strong anchor in my life. So I saw my kids growing up one way and I didn't like it. And we had the opportunity after COVID took everything online. So we moved so that we could be in an environment where it felt culturally relevant to who we are. Let me show you. Now I'm going to jump again. I'm just going to throw this up. This is the heart, a sacred heart that I just made recently. So this would be like the last art project that I did. And actually, Jasmine, would you show that this is my Instagram? And maybe can you just scroll down a little bit so they can see like just a screen full of all of the sacred selfies. This is my latest art project. That's beautiful. I love that. And I've made this Instagram page just for this project, so that people can decorate their own. These are made out of wood. Decorate their own sacred heart, and with whatever they want to represent that they have in their own hearts, so that it's a way to like make like a sacred selfies, make like a tactile physical embodiment, like something you can see and touch in the everyday of what you most care about or what you want to remember. So everyone has a completely different one, and it's very unique to each person. And the idea of taking these selfies like this, I don't know if you have seen like oh, there's Natalie. If you have seen like the image of the Sacred Heart of Christ that I'm kind of referencing all of this art, like going off of, I see some people nodding their heads. But it's important to me because these selfies are really like the transformative part of this project. And I guess you would call this socially engaged art. Pablo Elguera created kind of the philosophy around this type of art of gathering people in community to create something together. And I want to use the theology of the image of God to show that everyone has equal value, dignity, deserves honor as made in the image of God. So making sure that like there's an equal space for everyone to show what they care about and be able to represent themselves in their own agency, their own creativity, and with their own face. And I really became interested in the posture of the Sacred Heart of Christ because it's something of an invitation in the way that like the heart is offered. It's not forced. It's like an extension of like I don't know, like your core to the outside world. So I like the invitational aspect of it. And yeah, I like that people can take it home and put it on the wall. So I realize I'm getting close to the end of how much I can talk about this. But I'm still working on this project. That heart I held up earlier is one I just made for myself. I had made one at the beginning of this project, more as like an example. You can kind of see it there in the middle, the red heart that I'm holding. Yeah. But it wasn't really representative of me or my heart. I just wanted something to be accessible for my participants. So I feel bad, but like I finally came around and I was like, okay, I need to do this for real. Like I need to do my own theology and do my own art. And it was a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I thought, yeah, I got this, like I made this project, but it made me pause and really think about where I'm at right now, just processing like seeing the news of the raids happening in the United States, what's going on in Palestine. I mean, there's still a war invasion in Ukraine. So I'm just like, how do I find myself wanting to like fly away to like some other place, and art is what really grounded me in staying present in reality and continuing to come back, because every day that I speak Spanish as a second language reminds me why I'm here. why I love making art and why I need it. So it's been I don't know. The in between is like every 5 minutes for me, if you notice from my talking style. So I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Kaya. I love in particular that you shared that um, art isn't escape, it's grounding. I think so often culturally, people tend to think of artists as escaping reality or creating things that are outside of reality. And I think that's very true what you said, that it is grounding. So thank you so much. Up next is a gentleman by the name of David. And in my experiences with David, the in between that I find that we experience together is the in between of cynicism and hope. And what I see David do is just pour this sense of humor into that space, into the pause between those two states of being. And so I'm really excited for you all to get to experience David. The floor is yours.
Hey, what's up, friends? How you guys doing tonight? You guys doing all right? How we doing? Give me a little reaction. You guys doing all right? You guys can talk back. A little thumbs up. All right, we're good. Like Natalie said, my name is David, and first off, I'm just really excited to get to talk to you guys just about art and yeah, art itself and what this idea of the pause means and how can the pause be something that is beneficial. I think a lot of things that we encounter in life, whether it's a season of hyperactivity or a season where we're kind of sitting, seasons can either be beneficial to us or detrimental because at the end of the day, we still also have life that we are living and multiple currents that we are just swimming in, especially in this year called 2025. So how can we use whatever pauses come into our life to our benefit and to the benefit of the people around us and to the benefit of the art that we are making, hope to make, and all of that. So I have a couple of kind of like just little thoughts and I'm just gonna kind of bebop around and hopefully this stuff makes sense. Um, so the first kind of thought is going to be pulled from a song called "Life Is Beautiful" by Larry June and Two Chainz. It's a very awesome song, and it sounds like you're on a boat, but it's basically like just imagine if like 35-year-old rec basketball became a song. That is what Life Is Beautiful is. It's just like these are just nuggets of wisdom in a delightful song, and I'm just hooping. And one of the lines that Two Chainz says is careful what you put inside because your outside is the receipt. And that is an insane amount of wisdom that I have found to be true in multiple versions of my life, even before I had heard that lyric, but I kind of learned, man, I've been in many different seasons, particularly in my artistic journey, where I just sat around and it felt like nothing was going on. And I'm just like, all right, so what's going on? And the first bit of a little bit of hopefully what I think is wisdom is you may not be in a season where you are activated, but you must remain active because everything around you is active. The only way as an artist, as even as an educated consumer, as somebody that wants to do things in this world, the only place that you can coast is on a downward spiral. An unfortunate thing about the life that we live in right now is autopilot doesn't take us upward, and it's not even just upward of just like finances or whatever. It's upward in is the trajectory that we are in as people one that we are excited about. So one of the requirements of that, one of the responsibilities of that is that you must remain active even if you're in a season where you're not activated. So how many of us would agree that art feeds the soul? I mean, that's kind of like the whole reason that we're here. So if art feeds the soul, would it not be a wise decision to be careful of what you put inside and what you ingest? Because if your soul is your most important thing, would you not want your soul to be happy? The soul is an interesting thing that many people try to figure out what is, and that's kind of like the whole basis of theology and spirituality is like, how does the soul function? How does the soul work? One of the things that I find very interesting about the soul is like I had this idea of that the soul has physics, the soul has physiology, that if the soul interacts with beautiful things, it naturally becomes more beautiful. If the soul interacts with ugly things, the soul will naturally become more ugly. There are things that we constantly put ourselves in proximity to that affect the posture and that make it easier or difficult to be in the posture that we want to be able to do the things that we hope to do with our art, with our creativity. And a lot of that is going to be in what you're going to be feeding yourself. So for me, in a time of cynicism and division, I find myself, I'll make a confession, it can be easy for me to go into straight cynicism, to just start to feed myself with the narrative of maybe it's all for nothing. Maybe all of it doesn't matter. Maybe, and part of it is like, man, I want to be a deeply incisive artist. I want to be someone that speaks to the times, that speaks to whatever. And it can be a natural tendency for me to be like, all right, just give me to me as ugly as possibly can be, because that's what it feels like humanity is. And that is a massive disservice, even if the entertainment is good. One of the things that sucks about, I think, or one of the craziest things that has happened in just media and entertainment and artistry in in the age of social media is cynicism has the highest budget. So if you want to watch something that cinematically looks amazing, has the wittiest writers, has the greatest soundtrack, it will have you looking at the human condition as if it is unsavable. And the unfortunate thing is there is a giant portion of that that feels true and correct, and unfortunately, the more you feed that, the more that will affect what comes in. If the eyes are the window to, as a filmmaker, one of the things that have genuinely kind of seen happen is the things that I genuinely put my eyes on naturally just come out in the things that I make. So I kind of decided, all right, if I want to be an artist that actually cares about the things that I put out into the people around me and the things that I watch, a lot of I think probably for the last like 5, 6 years, my biggest gauge has been, does my mom like it? Is I will watch TV shows, I will watch all of that. Music is still the one I'm like, all right, this one's for me. But anything that kind of lives in a shared space is like, does my mom like it? And it's honestly kind of been like such a great filter for me, because it's it's my mom. It's the closest relationship I'm ever gonna have. But it's also kind of like those things of just like, oh, then this is something that I can feel good about passing to the world around me. Because if my mom likes it and then my mom is pretty cool, then I think it'll make somebody's day. I think it'll be something that gives people wisdom. I think it'll be something that just helps people have a better posture versus another alternative. All right. Another thing that I have written down is, do you know that your attention is your most valuable resource? Uh, every single company on planet Earth that has a website is spending money for your specific attention. And that is a crazy thing to think about. It's whether you have a high sense of self-esteem or a low sense of self-esteem. Recognize that there is some company or there is a group of companies that at least spends $10 million on you specifically every single year just for your attention. So if your attention is that valuable to a screen, how much more valuable is your attention to the world around you? How much more impactful would it be if your eyes were just set on the things around you and saying, hey, these things are decaying because I'm too busy looking over here. Oh, this relationship is on the wayside because I'm too busy trying to feed into the FOMO or whatever. Our attention to the things that we bring attention to are massive in this fight that we are currently in, of whether the world will be a hopeful or a cynical place forever. And the first place it's going to start is in between your own eyes, is going to be in between the kind of world that you kind of create. I don't think it's dumb, especially in a room of artists, to say the things that we create affect the world around us, because literally the things that we create affect the world around us. And in this vibe wars, we really kind of have to figure out, okay, through our specific diet, how is this going to be helpful to me specifically? Because even you can't feed yourself a poor diet and expect your leftovers to be helpful for somebody else. That's just not possible. So the healthier you are to yourself, these just by watching your spiritual diet, just to watching your artistic diet, you will actually find yourself being able to be of function, to be of service to the people and the people around you. I said, remember and practice the fundamentals. I don't know if I'm going too long, but I'll say second to last point is remember and practice the fundamentals. The fundamentals of whatever craft you have engaged in are an important thing, because they are the things that give you longevity. I've been finding a lot of just life and lesson in the game of basketball. And one of the things about basketball is you can be the least athletic person on the floor, but if you are fundamentals, if you know your fundamentals, like Zach said, Tim Duncan, big fundamentals, you can outlast a superstar, because everybody knows LeBron, everybody knows Jordan, nobody knows Steph, but not many people care much about Tim Duncan, who had as decorated of a career as these guys, and he played sometimes the most boring basketball you'll ever see. But it worked, and it got him where he needed to go. So yeah, he got to play around some superstars. He had some superstar moments, but remember and respect the fundamentals, because those are the things that keep it going, so that you can have that moment where you do love art, when you're no longer in the pause and you're now being activated and everything is kind of going and it's firing. The way to make sure that a fire stays lit is by the work that you've already been done before. If you had cut enough wood already, then the fire is going to keep going. So in this pause period, again, just to remember and practice the fundamentals, because that's just kind of how you stay healthy. And the last one, I'm just gonna, and we're gonna get deep into it. I'm not even deep into it, but it's just like a simple little thing. If the fight that we're in currently as a people, as a culture, if there is somebody that's for us, then that means that there is something that is against us. This thing that is against us, we can call it the enemy, is narcissistic, because it loves attention. And the best thing that you can do to a narcissist is ignore, because eventually they will flee from you. They will realize they can't get what they need from you, and they will run away. Just ignore it. You know, you can, and that it can, they'll get loud. They will get loud. They will do all of that, but eventually, ignoring a narcissist, they will flee from you, because they recognize, hey, this vessel, whatever this is fortified, because, oh, the food is healthy. It recognizes that, oh,